Congrats on your promotion.
Yep.
Does it feel different to be the coordinator?
It does not feel different. I get to speak more, you know.
Yeah, we're looking forward to that.
No, it's all good. We got a good chemistry in the room, so just dynamics change a little bit, but exciting.
Ryan said that spring will kind of be. We don't know what the plan's going to be with dynamic calling plays, but that you're going to get a chance to do more of that in March and April with an eye on the season.
Yeah.
How much of that are you thinking about at this moment, scheming, planning for what that opportunity is going to be like?
Well, I mean, you know, if you were to come in, you know, out of the building, you come into this role, everything will be on the table the same way as it is now. But to kind of corner ourselves into a spot and then justify it one way or the other, we don't really want to do that. So everything's on the table. Look forward to the opportunity in the spring. I think just in general, though, I mean, in spring, you know, the more opportunities we get the chance to play it as real as possible for myself and young quarterbacks and everybody else, I think that it serves everybody well.
How comfortable would you feel to go and call a game right now?
Pretty comfortable, just because with the surrounding party I have. I mean, I think that, you know, Coach Day has always done that at an elite level. We've always produced from a production standpoint offensively at an elite level, but the support staff I have around me really empowers me. So my confidence comes from having them, and so I'd be very confident.
Brian mentioned he challenged you a lot last year as passing game coordinator with picking up blocking schemes and all of that. How much did your year as passing game coordinator help prepare you, think, for where you're at right now?
Yeah, I think it's all critical. I don't think, you know, it's not just carrying a title, I don't believe. I think it's probably more than that. But, you know, as you continue to build in any profession, you know, more responsibilities and how you handle those responsibilities and how those fingers reach outside of the responsibilities you're technically supposed to have really just show probably your growth potential. So it's not just me, it's anybody. I'd like to think I did a good job with that. But again, still a reset. Here's where I'm at now, and now where can I grow from here, and how can I help this team accomplish the goals we want to accomplish.
Have you been secretly sitting around keeping little schemes you're coming up with, et cetera? I mean, for that day when you become a coordinator,
No.
or you're still what I'm saying.
We have plenty of plays.
Yeah.
And we have plenty of minds.
That's what I was going to
We don't, you know, it's not like there's in my opinion, a secret sauce out there.
Yeah.
You know, so I would say no.
Yeah, and so define what an offensive coordinator is from your vantage point, from your perspective. Is it collating everybody's ideas and putting them together? Is it coming up with something novel? I mean, you know, how would you explain it, right?
I definitely multifaceted. I mean, in a coach in general, I think you wear a lot of hats. You don't just, you know, I think sometimes coaching receivers, I'm blessed with a great room, so, but I used to say coaching is like the last thing I do, you know, so, but I would say being an offensive coordinator is, you know, putting your fingerprint on things that you find more important than others. I mean, at the end of the day, you have an allocation of time, how you allocate that time. You have a list of plays and schemes, and what you find, you know, an A play versus a B play and a C play, that becomes probably more your identity. That's probably your responsibility. I mean, I think that being able to enhance the people around you. You know, my job as a receiver coach is to get the best out of the receivers. My job as offensive coordinator is to maximize each, you know, guy in that room, each coach in that room, to what they're capable of. So that doesn't change, I think, in the grand scheme, but maybe the dynamics within the groups maybe are a little different.
But then helping to identify a starting quarterback. You guys have got a competition. You don't have a returning starter at quarterback and stuff. How much have you weighed that throughout your career about what makes this guy different from that guy? Why do I go with this guy?
I mean, I constantly assess players myself. I mean, I assess my 5-year-old son. I mean, like I can't watch him play sports because I'm assessing him. So that's just what we do all the time. And I think, you know, the biggest thing to remind yourself sometimes is new year, new identity. Some players are carryover, but there's new players. And every year you have a new identity. These players look for a new opportunity to reestablish themselves or to establish themselves. and giving them that opportunity, I think, is critical. I think sometimes the byproduct of past years gets stuck in your mind as a coach, which in remember as a player, like, okay, hold on now, like this is my next year, new opportunity. Maybe some older guys are gone, my voice can be louder, so you got to make sure as a coach you provide that platform to where those players can enhance themselves as well.
But how important is it to identify when you have a brand new starting quarterback situation, to identify who that guy is sooner rather than later, or do you want to let it mature?
Yeah, I don't think there's ever a rush. I think that I'll lean heavily on Coach Day with how that all goes down. Everyone, people have an opinion and have a voice, but that quarterback room is pretty well established over the last 4, 5, 6 years of the standard in which they operate, and Coach Day obviously is the reason for that, and Coach Dennis. So those guys will do a great job, do what they do, and I'm sure I'll just be a part of the conversation.
Are you noticing the dust start to settle with NIL? When you're out on the road, are you getting more comfortable with it? Is it still the Wild West?
Yeah, you're definitely getting more comfortable with it. I think that the dust still has not settled. I think the only way it settles is with time, and I think guys seeing the reality of what's happening and not happening, what's real and not real. That won't show until down the road, and so, but it's definitely more comfortable. It's here to stay, so it's not as new, but definitely interesting dynamic though.
Are you guys happy with where you are in terms of whether it's how it's coming in, and you always are going to want more? I get that.
That's the fine balance, right? You always want to have more, and that's just the reality of it. I mean, if you asked NFL teams if they wish the salary cap was higher, they would say, yeah, they wish it was higher. So, I would say that I'm really happy with where we're at. I think that, I'm proud of the way we've gone about it. I'm sure Coach Day could hit on it more. I don't want to speak, out of context there, but we definitely want to be sustainable. We definitely want to be, very thoughtful and thorough, and really, do right by the young men. And I think that we're doing that at a pretty good clip.
You hear all these stories. Have you been surprised by how much a kid wants to talk about it, or what's expected? Did you see it? Maybe it isn't. Maybe the percentage of how high that is in the recruiting conversation isn't what we're hearing.
Well, I think it's a part of a variable. Like the variable, like anything, can change. So where those people, where the young athletes place that variable in the importance of their recruitment is on them. And we know it's important. We don't believe it's the most important. So all that has to match up, and I think that's really important. I think that's part of maybe the emphasis in the athlete's mind or family's mind and all that, and it all plays a part, right? At the end of the day, there's a bunch of variables on the table. You're trying to assess the variables and determine that young man's odds of success based on the variables. That's the combine, that's recruiting, that's all that. So now it's another variable. How you handle that variable and how you place it is up to assessment.
So at that program, if you've got a super talented guy, but his number one thing is NIL money,
Yep.
stay away.
I would say this. I would say that it's probably per position per coach. I would say as a receiver coach, probably not a guy that would fit in our room. So, however each coach handles it and how Coach Day wants to handle it, that's fine. But I'm okay with saying that's probably not the right fit for us in our room.
Brian, you're moving up the offensive coordinator is not just a promotion for you; it's also part of Brian's concept of kind of restructuring things. Did you see here these last couple of years how much was kind of on his plate and how that would wear on him a little bit?
Yes, that's probably natural. I think the longer you're in it, the more that college football morphs. I mean, let's take a snap back to what college football was in 2015, and then where it is in 2020, 2023. I mean, it's vastly different. And I think that as he continues to be in the head coaching role, and there's more put on your plate, and there's more people, and there's more hands on you, and it just grows, right? And I think Ohio State demands that, obviously, at the highest level. So, I think that he feels that more than I would ever, and he's just trying to do right by what he thinks would be best to help maximize the team. and he spoke about it a little bit, but this day has come.
Brian, I talked in the past about maybe you didn't take the most linear route to get to here, but when you were in college, when you were in the NFL, were you paying attention to offensive coordinators in such a way that maybe I'm going to do that someday, trying to glean things from?
Nope.
Ryan said that you would be more involved now in recruiting the whole offense.
Yep.
Is that something you're excited about? Is that something it's a challenge because you are a receiver and receiver brains?
Yep. No, I think it's exciting. I like being able to reach out to those guys. I think that I lean heavily on the guys. It helps steer me. I don't want to make sure. Again, I think my job as a coordinator is to help facilitate the position coaches to go after the guys they want, not to go get the guys, but to help facilitate. And just like Coach Day helps facilitate with the receivers, but it's still my responsibility. That's how I feel. So I lean heavily on the position coaches to help guide me on where they want it and where they want me or where they don't. I mean, that's really important. But the opportunity to meet more young men and make an imprint on them and hopefully get them here, and that can build. I mean, the biggest part I've told you, Berm, is before is through recruiting. I feel like the relationship part can be built, because if there's no relationship, there's no coaching. You can only coach a guy as hard as the relationship allows. And I like to try to not hedge my bets, but speed that process up through recruiting. So when they get here, they already know Hart calls it's for a reason. And not being like, oh, hey, I'm Coach Hart, nice to meet you. And it takes 6 months to build that relationship. It's really hard to coach in that first 6 months then, versus when they step on campus. So, just like the receivers, I would feel the same way about the other positions.
To that vein, in this cycle that's coming, your focus will be different than it's ever been before. Is it more important for you in 24 and 25 to get those relationships right now, where you don't have a lot of the other stuff around the game in summer? And
I don't think so. I don't mean to be dismissive, but I feel like there's plenty of time in the day to get it done. I just got to be more, make sure I stay organized and I don't waste time, but there's plenty of time to get it done.
If you're going to experiment with new play callers in the spring, is it advantageous to do so when you're also identifying a new quarterback as opposed to a guy who's been in the system for 2 years and versus the offense he's ran? Is there any? I
don't feel any type of way towards that. I don't think. I mean, these guys have been in the offense. They know the offense. They're going to continue to build trust, and I'm not worried about them side. It's just making sure they feel how I operate.
Brian, does it help you make that transition to coordinator when you know you have 3 returning starters at receiver?
I think having the building full of players that we have, regardless of returning starter or not, provides a great opportunity for anybody to call plays at Ohio State. So, for me, regardless of returning or not, excited for it.
So you've accumulated a lot of talent in that receiver room. Kind of what's maybe your message to those guys who aren't the returning starters on how they can earn playing time this year?
I think right now in the offseason program, the biggest thing is, and I'll just share it with you, is that I said right now you should be trying to impress your peers. Impress your peers. Your peers know. Players know. By trying to impress your peers, that means everything, right? Being on time, if not early, how you work, how you communicate. If you're up front, you're not in front. All those things matter. And I think by doing that, you'll probably in turn impress Coach Mick, because Coach Mick knows what it looks like. He runs the program. He's really the facilitator of all culture at Ohio State. And if you can impress him, you're on the right track. I've never seen a guy impress Coach Mick and not be on the field. So do that, and then obviously the coaches. So if you keep your mindset on, again, impress your peers, because those peers are hard to impress, that'll byproduct to probably impress Coach Mick, and then your coaches will be impressed. The rest of the care of stuff. So that's the focus, I would say, through the off-season months.
And I've seen you respond to a few people on social media about Jackson Smith-Njigba's draft projections. Just what's your message to NFL teams about why you should draft Jackson?
What are some of the most important things you think you've learned from Ryan about calling the game, offensive play calling, being around him for the last few years?
It's not going to be perfect. I think that, relying on those around you for recommendations, implementing those recommendations, being okay to agree with some but not agree with some, that's okay. Again, I've been on the headset with him for 5-6 years, so there's been a lot to learn from. His calm, I think, has been really good. I think the conversations at halftime and how those go kind of resonate with me big time. So there's lots of things. To nail it down just to one, would be hard to do. But again, I mean, given that opportunity, he's still going to be on the headset with me. So it's not like I have to write him down and take it with me. He's going to be right there. So, like I said, I mean, given the opportunity, a lot of confidence because of the guys around me.
How much